Lomochrome Purple is a color shifting, color negative stock meant to be used with your standard C41 development processes. And with an experimental makeup and an ISO range from 100 to 400, it is a stock that can have some varied effects over your images. Of course, the most obvious variance will be in color shifting, where vibrant greens will shift to purples, but your skin tones, your red colors if you will, should remain protected, at least mostly. Now, the original idea of this video was to test the color shifting nature compared to the latitude of Lomochrome Purple, that being an experimental film with an experimental ISO range from 100 to 400. But this is an older film stock, and that idea has been done before. So to add to the topic instead, I chose to give you 4 tips that I would think about when shooting Lomochrome Purple, and how to make your images maybe just a little bit better. The first aspect deals with the expectations of your colors. If you're someone that's looking to run the gambit or see the Lomo rainbow, just remember you're probably not going to get that from a simple landscape. I.e., something with a lot of green is going to give you those purples, which is really cool in itself, but if you're looking for that aspect of extreme vibrance or crazy colors, just remember that Lomochrome Purple is not changing your colors, it's simply shifting them, and it's only able to do that with what's put in front of the lens first. So in the case of my example, we do see that shift from green to purple, but it's not a brilliantly colorful image, so therefore it would make sense that my end result also wouldn't be vibrantly or brilliantly colorful. It's only taking in that which you give it first.
It only takes in that which makes it stronger.
So keep that in mind. The third tip I have for you is all about isolation. It's probably one of my most used, most loved techniques when it comes to photography because of how easy it is to implement, but also how effective it is to get my audience to look at the subject that I feel is important in my image. Usually one way that I'll do this is run a lower aperture and apply some bokeh to that subject. That way that subject stands off the background. Now this example is not a good one. It's not really even a great one because the photo is not fantastic, but it will give the example that I'm talking about. In that my log is my subject and it's sitting amongst the greenery. So the greenery is now purple because of Lomo Purple, but instead we see that isolation of the log. It's the brightest part of the image, but it's also the most contrasted against what is mostly purple in the image. So it brings your eye to it. It's also sitting in the middle of the image. These are all things when you put them together make a good image and help stand your subject away from their background. And as an aside, probably the best way I've seen this film used is through portraiture in this same aspect. On this walk, I did not have someone to stand in the foliage, but I have seen some photos where people have taken portraits amongst greenery, and it's incredible. You can get that otherworldly feel because you have a single subject standing amongst purples and pinks, but you also have that isolation because the skin tones, your warmer shades, are protected, at least mostly. They do shift a little bit, but still the fact is that you will see those people stand out significantly from a background that you're not used to seeing. I think that alone makes for a very interesting image and definitely something to think about here. And lastly, the thing to consider is the post-processing of Lomochrome Purple. More so the scanning aspect than development. We know that we've already talked on development being through a C41 process, which in itself is awesome because it goes through the same processes as our other color stocks that we normally would use. However, when it comes to scanning, I think one thing to remember here is that some programs will probably do better with this, and more than any of it, just remember this is subjective. Some people will see this as a great image while others will see it as not. And especially when it's an experimental film with an experimental ISO range, there are a lot of things going into play as to whether it is a quote good image or not. But overall, just remember that these ideas that I give to you are not hard and fast rules. They're not set in concrete. They are instead ideas, tips, tricks, hints, things to consider, things to remember, things to think about when you take out a film stock like this. Because inevitably, mileage will vary, and images are subjective anyway. And those that I've shown you here are really not that stellar. They're not even really that good, but hopefully they get the point across, and most of all, they don't steer you away from trying this film stock because you could probably do better. Honestly, I hope you consider it as a challenge, one to which I set a very low bar on, to go out and try it yourself. But in the end, that is what I have on Lomochrome Purple. And I hope this video has helped you out, I hope you find it interesting, and I hope you will try it out yourself as well. And if you do, let me know what you came up with, or if you have, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you think about this film stock. And while you're down there in the comments, don't forget to hit that description box because we got the usual social links for Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I hope you will check me out there as well. But for now, I want to say thank you for checking this one out, and I will see you guys in the next one.